and everyone has, I believe, confusion in the B2B world around social media. What is the role? Does it work? Doesn't it work? And just the fear of having lost control in that channel. So if you could share some context around wins or losses and how you've leveraged social to syndicate your content, I'd love to learn more.
Another thing we're playing with within the social space, and to put it out there, in our specific target market, we don't generate a ton of business from a social world. We're still in that as a global brand, because you have to be. But what we're doing is we're actually playing around with some tools that allow us to target specific social audiences based on who we want to target, the segments, their interests, who they work for, that kind of thing. But then interact with them in a drip nurturing type manner, almost similar to email automation. And these tools allow us to, mention this person, wait a couple days, direct message them. If they interact this way, then respond with this. And create some new followers and new lead generation around that space. To me, that's a lot more valuable. Obviously, we have teams that do nothing but sit there and listen socially. You have to listen, right?
Yeah.
That's the world today. We may not generate specific business, measurable business from a social world, at least in our space. But you have to be there. It adds to the entire brand. And then you can't measure it, right? I can't go to my sales exec and say, "Hey, we closed $1 million from this one tweet." It doesn't happen.
Right.
But it's one of those things you have to be in.
I have a background in social community software, and one of the things that we're doing at Mitel is we're encouraging our folks to go participate in forums where our prospects may hang out, and to add content but don't sell.
Yeah.
Give advice, participate, ask questions, and build relationships. But over time, they'll find you. They'll know where to go. They'll come back onto the website, mitel.com, and continue that conversation. But we're really trying to get people off our domain and go participate.
Yep.
Right? Go.
That objectivity
share.
is key.
Right. But you got to, don't go in there and start selling.
You can't tell that to a salesperson.
Well, but you can tell it to your technical marketing, your product marketing people that have a lot of information and they're expert in their area, and they can just spend some time in these, join some communities, build relationships, and share. And over time, they will find you. Yeah. They will follow you home, wherever that may be. Maybe our Facebook page. It could be our website. It could be another domain, another area.
Agreed. Tim?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think while some salespeople, even marketing people, may not support that idea, may have issue with it. Like Mike's saying, if you reach the customer, and the customer tells the salesperson, "Hey, I saw that spot on YouTube. I loved it."
Mm-hmm.
That's what starts changing the conversation with the salespeople and saying, "All right, hey, let's do this." And that's why I love humor so much, because it really lets you show your brand in a very different way, in an authentic way. It lets you hit on pain points, because so much of comedy comes from pain. And if you take a customer's pain point, like you're saying, you go and you understand through the research, here are the pain points, and you add hyperbole, you heighten it, you show consequences of that, make it absurd. You make a customer laugh. That's how you connect with. That's where empathy is.
Yeah, that's a great point.
I understand both the pain, and also I understand you well enough to make you laugh. So we have a connection here. Let's sit down and talk. Now, and I do think you have to give patience. You have to allow for patience. You have to let this give it some time. But you do have to be out there. And so I did a comedy one at IBM years ago, and there were plenty of people who said, "Well, why are we doing this? It's self-deprecating. We're making ourselves look bad." And because there are always people who just don't get it, and that's fine. They don't. There's always going to be people who don't appreciate your humor or humor in general, but it will find the right people, and so it's worthwhile. And that people always people say comedy's not global, or this comedy's not global. This video was translated in like 7 different languages.
Wow.
And it finds the audience.
Right.
Wendy's right on. I think you got to create really wonderful stories and give it time and let people, and then they'll find you on Facebook and then come back to your website.
That is fantastic, and I think that's a great takeaway.